appearance on Dion's Daily Dose does not imply endorsement from or by any candidate or guest. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by Dion Bergeron or Dion's Daily Dose are his own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of any guest. Material and information presented is for general information purposes only. The Dion's Daily Dose name in all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owners, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service. If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose.
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Dion's Daily Dose. Today is, what is today? The 3rd? March 3rd? Yeah, March 3rd, 2024. Seems like it's going quick, doesn't it? I mean, man. All right, we're gonna bring Shawn on here. Hello. There we go. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
As you can see, studio audience, we changed the setup of the studio. This is always actually what I intended, was a couple of chairs and a table rather than the love seat. The love seat was a temporary measure. Do you miss the love seat? A little bit. Yeah, the chairs are good. All right, so kind of just gonna jump into it first. Before we dive into this, I think it's appropriate, at least, to discuss, at least touch on it. One thing that I've noticed, and you and I have talked about this a little in the past, but there's such a toxic environment online when you try to talk about anything political anymore. You've got, two very different, but both, camps. You've got the far left and the far right. And it's hard to have a reasonable discussion. I posted about the trucker boycott, right? About New York City. And this lady commented on the trucker boycott talking about, you call yourselves patriots, basically something about bribes and terrorism, basically domestic terrorists. And I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. Right. I said, let me make sure I understand you, because I'm not going to jump to conclusions. Who are you referring to? And she said, the truck drivers. She's calling anyone who chooses not to go to New York City a domestic terrorist. These are and there are people, I want to clarify, there are people on the right who are unhinged as well. Let's be, let's be honest. But a big portion of this, I think, comes from the complete misunderstanding of the way a truck driving job works. Like I saw a number of leftists commenting on Boycott NY posts, talking about, you're going to get fired and we're going to have illegal immigrants fill your job. And it doesn't work that way. It especially if you're an owner operator. Like, if you're an owner operator, you literally choose where you go. That's the point of being an owner operator. And you can pick loads that go anywhere and don't go to some places such as New York. You're your own boss. You determine where your truck goes. So for anyone to refer to a truck driver who chooses not to go to somewhere as a domestic terrorist, that's really unhinged. It in my opinion, it's like goes a bit far with the whole political analogy situation. All right, so we're gonna jump into this. So this is pretty wild, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion. It is 12 jaw-dropping projects that will revolutionize Saudi Arabia from an upside-down skyscraper with a secret entrance, which is kind of dope, not going to lie, to the world's largest floating structure and a $500 billion vertical Manhattan. So you've read this already, right? Okay. What's the, we'll let you give a quick breakdown on it.
Okay. They're trying to diversify because they've seen the world going away from oil.
Okay.
So they're trying to prepare themselves for the future so they don't go bankrupt when oil we don't use oil anymore.
Right. So they've kind of seen the trends. They're seeing this big push for EV vehicles and the carbon footprint crap and all that
So
stuff.
they're trying to bring tourism to Saudi Arabia.
Okay. Well, I know UAE has a huge tourist industry because of Dubai, and I guess there are a few other cities that are starting to basically rival Dubai, right? Yeah, there are a few over there that are basically, they see how much money's coming into Dubai, and they're like, this is not a bad idea.
And they're also buying different. They almost bought the WWE.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. I think I read something about that. It was close. They came really close,
there
right?
were reports that they actually bought it, but then in the end, thankfully they didn't. But WWE likes to go to Saudi Arabia at least 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah.
They got a huge base there.
Yeah, there's a lot of wrestling fans in Saudi Arabia. So scroll down for pictures of each one. The project certainly cannot be accused of a lack of ambition. Okay, so this one here, whoa. The Oxagon, an industrial port that, if completed, will be the world's largest floating structure. Dude, look at this. Go away. All these pop-up ads. This right here is why people install ad blockers. Unfortunately, half of these stories won't work if I...
They're spending their money wisely as we are wasting our money.
Right. Yeah, we're sending our money to other countries while they are building the future. I mean, this is wild, man. NEOM's flagship development is The Line. The vertical Manhattan is intended to be 170 kilometers long, comprised of 2 500-meter tall parallel towers. Dude, this is wild. Okay, what is this? A visualization of the interior of The Line. Proposal documents mention on-site healthcare scientists who will modify residents' genes to make them stronger, and an artificial moon lighting the sky. This is some sci-fi shit. Yeah. That's what this is. You've got this massive wall skyscraper thing where they can literally edit your genes so that you can work harder, that, make you stronger. But my guess is, just my personal guess, I think this area is going to be for the people who aren't working, the ones who can afford, to live in luxury, but who knows? Sindala is an 840,000 square meter, 840,000 square meter man-made island in the shape of a seahorse, a resort aimed at the yachting community. That is wild. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, you got all these super yachts, because I don't know if you guys can see, probably not too well. You got your regular boats right here. Then you got your mid-range, which are your yachts, and then you got your big old yachts. Yeah. Aquellum will be an ultra-luxury upside-down skyscraper completely encased in a mountain, undetectable to anyone outside. They're living in a mountain, y'all. Look at that upside down skyscraper. So they're digging down. Yeah. Okay. So all this will be rock. This won't be open. And then this will probably be the only sign that there's something there, will be some boats parked. Dude, that is wow. Norlana is anticipated to be a coastal town for 3,000 residents focused on yachting. They're really going all in on this yachting thing, aren't they? Utamo has been built as an immersive art and entertainment center cocooned inside a mountain. Now, is that the same as the other upside down skyscraper?
I'd say it's the same. Probably the same, just different picture.
Yeah, different picture of it. NEOM covers an area of 10 8,200 square miles with the Gulf of Aqaba to the west and the Red Sea to the north. Oh, yeah. Okay. So here's Jordan. Here's Egypt. Neom is right. Yeah. Okay. So it's basically northwest Saudi Arabia. It'd be the equivalent of our like Oregon, Washington, Idaho area, I'm guessing. Yeah. So there's Oxagon right there. The line is that freaking long ass skyscraper. That is, dude, that's huge. Look how far that goes.
Yeah.
Like my question realistically is how the hell do you get from here to here if there's a skyscraper in the way?
That's true.
Like, do they have tunnels? I'm just wondering. I mean, I think it's a legitimate question. How do you get from this side? Let's say I want to go to Sindalah and I live in Trohana. I don't want to have to drive all the way around here. So there has to be something. There's got to be like tunnels or something. All right, moving on. What? Oh, this is Neom. Wow. Okay. Oh, wow. The two images above show pre-visualizations of Trohana. In other words, AI artist renditions. Intended to be a major ski destination atop Tardik Mountain. It will play host to the 2029 Asian Winter Games. So they must have already secured the appearance. Yeah. Yeah. That's wild though. So basically these people are skiing up here. I wonder if you catch air. Woo, that would suck. That would suck bad. Zardoon is planned to be a major wildlife park and eco-tourist center surrounded by 3 luxury hotels. I will say, though, like, that's gorgeous, man. You imagine standing out on that balcony looking at that? Like, I'm sure that is a sight to behold. I don't know how I feel about these, though. Like, looking up at that, I don't know. Kind of weird.
Interesting place to go.
It would. Leja will be a nature reserve and tourist resort comprised of 3 luxury hotels. Okay, so it looks like over here you got this weird like steps in the mountain kind of thing. I don't like that one. This one's kind of cool. That's the one with the balconies that were kind of odd, but beautiful view. And then this is almost like a mirror finish on some metallic structures. I don't know. It'd be between these two if I was going to, if I was going to go, which I don't see myself going to Saudi Arabia in the next, like little bit. What the hell is this? Epicon is planned to be a coastal tourist resort location comprised of 2 striking jagged towers. One will be 225 meters tall and one will reach 275 meters. You know what it looks like? You know what that looks like? It looks like a crashed spaceship.
Yeah, it does.
It looks like, the Normandy crashed into something and then it plummeted down like an Asari cruiser or something. It looks like, or some weird Star Trek episode ship that, like from this civilization that builds their stuff like that. And it just bloop right into the ground. Bizarre. Sarana will be a hexagonal pillar-shaped luxury hotel on the coast of the Gulf of Aqaba, designed to blend into a neighboring mountain. I don't know if I'd call that blending in. I mean, that's not blending, dude.
No.
That's not blending. All right, whatever. Zainor will be a luxury shoreline beach club designed to blend into its natural surroundings. Okay, then this looks more natural than the other one, more blendy. What do you think? A little bit anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's all the pictures that we just looked at. Reports of the cost of the project vary, starting at $500 billion to estimates it will cost in excess of $1 trillion if the 12 projects reach completion. The line is the flagship, though. Announced in 2021, its sheer ambition sparked headlines and controversy. The vertical Manhattan is intended to be 105 miles long, comprised of 2 facades. That's how many people they're planning on shoving in there. 9 million. Each of the dual towers will feature mirrored facades and include residential and business properties. Walkways. Oh, hey, RG10. Good to see you, man. I just looked over. How are you doing? Each of the dual towers will feature mirrored facades and include residential and business properties. Walkways will connect the structures while a high-speed train will run beneath.
So, yeah, sounds like it's going to run underneath.
Yeah. So that makes sense. If they're running a train under it, then I assume a tunnel can't be too far away. Yeah, there's a lot, and we gotta move on. But it is very, very. Oh, so hold on, I do want to show you guys this though, because I believe this is the planned future for all of us personally. There will be no roads or cars. Daily essentials. Oh, there we go. Daily essentials are planned to be within now you're going to hear this a lot, 5-minute walk for residents. 5-minute cities, guys. 15-minute cities, 5-minute cities. Yeah. Volocopters, delivery drones, and robot servants will be on hand to serve. Designers say it will run entirely on renewable energy. Those are some hefty ambitions. They really are. But again, this is what we're seeing all over the place now, where these city planners, which I want to clarify because people get confused on this whole 15-minute city thing. I am not opposed to having everything within an easy go-to, right? Having everything available for us to get to run up to the store or run here or run there. My issue comes in when they start A, monitoring where we're going, and B, saying, why do you need to leave this city when everything's here, right? Which I believe is the intention down the road. Yeah, I mean, that's just, what other benefits are there for them in having that? You know what I mean? Anything else you want to say about Saudi Arabia doing this?
No, that's pretty much it.
That's about it. I will say this. I am all for investing in the infrastructure of a nation. We should absolutely be doing the same. But we're sending our money overseas. We're wasting our money, handing it out to NGOs and other places and people. So yeah, I think this was, whether or not it comes to fruition or not, I think the planning is a good idea. I think the concepts are good for them. It'll be interesting to see what happens with these, because remember, who was the one that was making the islands out in is that Saudi Arabia too? Do you know what I'm talking about? Those massive man-made islands that they were going to sell resort property. Hold on, let me look this up, just because I don't remember what nation it is.
It might have been Saudi Arabia.
Huge man-made islands. Here, okay, yeah, there it is. Okay, UAE. Yeah, UAE. So okay.
Arab
Emirates. Yeah, they did all these islands. This one's Palm Jumeirah. And what they did, they're like, oh yeah, we're going to create this whole like massive subdivision out there. And it ended up costing them tons and tons of money. And it's not going well. Like current status. Oh, you haven't heard about this? Okay. Well, we'll cover this another time, because it's actually pretty interesting, and it shows how some really good ideas can end up going wrong. So let me get to the next. Okay. So the next story we got is the COP28 summit. Sharp disagreements.
that was just compared to the China or the Saudi Arabia. I was going to use this as an example of why Saudi Arabia is using or building this up.
Okay. So it looks like, because basically they're saying they want to phase out of planet warming fossil fuels, and those that don't pushed a critical climate summit officially into overtime on Tuesday. But organizers were about to float another triad compromise. Yeah, so there's this big push, like we said, for using something besides fossil fuels. So
renewable is not there yet.
No,
the crazy thing is that they want us to go to renewable, but the technology will probably be there someday. But they're basically saying we want to do it now.
Right.
We can't wait.
Right. Yeah, they can't wait. So I think it's a good idea though for Saudi Arabia to plan for stuff like this. I mean, if only our government would be so proactive.
Do you want to go to one of your topics?
About you know what? I want to talk about I want to talk about Catherine Herridge.
Okay.
She
used to be on Fox News, and now she moved to CBS.
Right. And I will say this, in my opinion, Catherine Herridge is one of the last real reporters out there. The woman checks her stuff. She checks her sources. She double checks. She triple checks. I have yet to read, like, a lot of this stuff these days. You read it and you're like, oh, this is obviously biased, or this is obviously bullshit, or whatever. Her stuff, rock solid, never opinions. She doesn't do opinions. She just reports the facts. So if you haven't heard of Catherine Herridge, check her out. She was on, like you said, Fox News, and then she went to CBS, and she reported on all kinds of stuff, major stories that broke over the last, how long has she been doing this? A long time, right? A long time.
I've known her for about 15 years. I've known about it.
Yeah.
She did all sorts of stories.
Yeah, she's been around. She's been around for a long time. Anyway, go ahead.
I believe she was the one who was telling us stuff about Benghazi when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
2013.
She reported on basically Chinese influence in our military. She's reported on some major stories. So here's the thing. A few weeks ago, CBS announced huge layoffs, a massive amount of people that got fired, right? Okay, that happens, especially with legacy media. We're seeing more and more they're having to tighten their belt and let people go or scale things back. It's not the firing. It sucks for her, obviously, but she was only one of like 800 people they fired. So it's hard to say that was targeted when it was a huge number. However, here's where we get the problem. When they fired her, they seized all of her stuff, her laptop, her computers, her tablets, her, like, everything. Then they tried seizing her confidential documents and the ones that were on her laptop. I mean, everything. They took everything. Unprecedented, by the way, for this to happen. They do not do this in the news world. They don't take their stuff.
They tried doing this to James Rosen too, another Fox News.
Oh, really?
During the Obama administration, there was a huge fight, and I think he actually won that case.
Ah, good to know. Okay. Yeah, we'll check that out. Okay, so I want you to watch this though, because so first of all, again, quick breakdown. So they seized all her stuff. She sued to get it back. Judge said, yeah, you're in the right. Gave her stuff back. Immediately, there's this other lawsuit that was pushed forward, and the judge is now holding her in contempt for not giving up a confidential source, something that has been prized, valued in media since the founding of this republic. I mean, the First Amendment is there for a reason. It protects confidential sources because these people will be retaliated against. I mean, that's how it happens. So I'm going to show you here. Judge holds veteran journalist Catherine Herridge in civil contempt for refusing to divulge source. Acclaimed investigative reporter Catherine Harris was held in contempt of court Thursday for refusing to reveal the unnamed sources in a series of 2017 articles on a Chinese American scientist probed by the FBI. U.S. District Judge Christopher Cooper imposed a fine of $800 for each day that Harris, who was recently let go from CBS News as part of mass layoffs by parent company Paramount, withholds the names of her source or sources for the Fox News articles penned nearly 7 years ago. The veteran journalist, however, has some time to file an appeal before the time goes into effect. She has repeatedly refused to answer questions about her confidential sources and invoked her First Amendment rights in doing so under oath. The scientist, Yanping Chen, is seeking the identities of those who leaked information from the FBI's investigation into statements she made. Chen, who was never charged in the probe, sued the government in 2018 over the leak that she claims was used to, quote, smear her reputation and damage her livelihood. Harris's articles focused on Chen's ties to the Chinese military, as well as privileged information she received about American service members through a professional school she founded in Virginia. The judge ruled that Chen's right to know who allegedly leaked the information for the purpose of her lawsuit tops Harris's free press rights and responsibilities to her sources. This is wild. It like if you like guys, I can't even articulate how damaging this is for our First Amendment. Like, while Cooper wrote that he, quote, recognizes the paramount importance of a free press in our society, the court has its own role to play in upholding the law and safeguarding judicial authority. Harris and many of her colleagues in the journalism community may disagree with that decision and prefer that a different balance be struck, but she is not permitted to flout a federal court's order with impunity, he added. Harris's lawyer, Patrick Philbin, declined to comment to the Associated Press, but has previously said that being forced to disclose her sources would endanger her career and raise national security concerns over the sensitive info, as there is a, quote, serious risk that Chen was, quote, involved in making information about U.S. military members available, end quote, to the Chinese government. So this person, apparently a scientist, Catherine Harris, had some information. She wrote a piece about it. This person is suing to get the name of the sources so that they can do what exactly? The journalist reporting in confidential files and another investigative story she was working on have also been in the news recently. Harris's personal files, along with her work laptop, were confiscated by CBS News and locked away in the station's Washington, D.C. newsroom immediately after she was laid off. Here's the interesting part, ladies and gentlemen. She had been probing the Hunter Biden laptop scandal at the time. The network returned the files on Monday after mounting pressure from the journalists union as well as the House Judiciary Committee. What I find interesting, number one, this is something to know. They actually admit, CBS News admits that it was the union that actually pressured them into giving it up. They didn't give a shit about Congress. They didn't care about the courts. The union went to them and said, you know, all those people you still have working for you? Yeah, they're on our side. I highly recommend you give her stuff. Now, I'm going to tell you, this is yet another example of the weaponization of our Justice Department against real journalists and obviously civilians. You know, look at, dude, Trump. Like, if they can do it to a former president, they have no problem doing it to you or me. It's just that simple. And they have, absolutely. There's people all the time getting railroaded left and right by our legal system. It is hopelessly broken at this point. The foundation is good. It really is. We have a good foundation, but we've got political sides that have been drawn. We have people that should never have been judges or prosecutors or any of this stuff. We've got some serious problems in our justice system. Not to mention the FBI. When you were a kid, did you look up to the FBI?
I did.
So did I. You know, have you ever heard of a game called Top Secret SI? It's an RPG. Okay. It was, I don't want to say it was super popular, but it was well known when I was a kid in the role playing community. Okay. I played D&D. Yes. I was a nerd. I played D&D. I played a bunch of other stuff, but my buddy and I had this game that was called Top Secret /SI, and SI is special intelligence, right? And you played a secret agent in the game, right? So, dude, in the book even, and as we were kids, like the FBI and the CIA they're awesome. They're amazing. They're this, they're that. And I cannot even articulate how much my perception of these agencies, CIA first, the CIA, man, the CIA is evil at this point. Like, you can't convince me otherwise. It needs to go. The entire organization just needs to be.
Yeah, we used to play outside. I had a friend when I was a kid, and we play outside that we were CIA agents. Stuff like that.
Exactly. Now,
yeah. Imagine being a CIA.
Right. No, man. And it's sad because, like any organization, I am absolutely certain that there are good people in there. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Maybe not the top. Yeah. But definitely in some areas of the organization, there are good people. But it is so corrupt and so far outside the realm of what they should be doing that I can't even think of a positive thing about the CIA these days. Or the FBI. Yeah.
And it's so obvious that they're after Trump. They don't even try to hide it.
Well, look at what was it? I just saw it. There was something else okay. So look at the difference in the way that the documents were handled, right? Between Trump and Biden. They found these documents in Biden's garage next to his Corvette, right? He had a bunch of them at his office, which was at University of Pennsylvania, right? UPenn.
The Chinese had access to it too.
Right. But that's okay. Right. Yeah. The media conveniently leaves that part out.
The only people that are talking about that is Fox.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have my own issues with Fox on certain areas, but they are at least reporting things that other networks are not. So I gotta give them credit on that. Okay. So, but I want to say before we move on from that story, because I think I got a string or something that's bugging me. I think that story is the Catherine Herridge story. There's so much more to that than a lot of people realize, because not only is she being sued by essentially a Chinese, someone that at least she and other people are convinced have ties to the Chinese government. She's being sued by them, and a judge is telling her, your First Amendment protected rights are secondary to the Chinese government's interests. That is insane. Not to mention, these people are, this country is buying up our farmlands. They're
setting up police stations.
Yeah.
In different cities.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, and of course the border situation with millions of undocumented, we have no idea who they are, illegals pouring across the border. It's only a matter of time. We're already seeing stories. They just rescued somebody from a sex trafficking operation where it was a gang from South America that had set up. So it's already It's already happening.
And the Chinese military men, are crossing the border at record numbers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's no doubt that there are absolutely some undesirables.
Do you want to talk about KSM? That's right there. If you want to click the link.
This one here?
Yep.
Yeah.
On what our government did.
Yeah. So, okay. Speaking of the CIA, it just so happens that we have an interesting story about the antics of our favorite agency. Not my favorite. Yeah.
Maybe when I was a kid.
Yeah. When I was a kid, you know what? It was funny because my buddy and I actually tried to join the CIA.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. We were idiots. I just want to make sure, at the time I was a teenager, I was an idiot. That's just the way it is. Right. But so, you know what? I'm going to hold off on this. I'm going to tell this story real quick. It's not too long. Okay. So we decided, you know what? We're going to be CIA agents. Right. So I called the CIA. This was before internet, right? This was I was like 17. I called the CIA and there's this prompt automated message where it's like, if you're calling for this, press 1. If you're calling for this, press 2. If you're calling for that, right? If you're calling for employment, press this button. I was like, bet, beep. So it proceeds to go down through the list of degrees, right? If you have a master's degree, press this button. If you have, a bachelor's degree, press this button. If you have a doctorate, press this. So it goes down all the way through at the bottom. And then it's like, if you don't have any degrees, press this button. Boop. So I'm 17. I hit the, I don't have shit button. And it's like, you could tell. I'm trying to remember what it said, but it was basically like, yeah, leave a message. And if we're really hard up, then we'll look you up. But it was obvious that we don't want you. You're a nobody. Thankfully, but yeah, thanks for your showing interest in, the Central Intelligence Agency. We literally have our pick, we're not worried about you. All right. Anyway, so this is a very disturbing story. Guantanamo Bay, in his first month in U.S. custody, the man accused of planning the 9/11 attacks confessed to the crime during questioning and wanted to keep talking about it, according to the psychologist who interrogated him. But the CIA wanted him to discuss Al-Qaeda's future plans, not the attacks that had horrified America a year and a half earlier, said Dr. James Mitchell, the psychologist. So when the prisoner, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, mentioned 9/11, they would slam him naked into a wall. It was March 2003. That month, interrogators would waterboard Mohammed 183 times as secret overseas CIA prison in the mistaken belief, Mitchell said, that a nuclear attack in the United States was imminent. But Mohammed still was not saying what his captors wanted to hear.
And can I change the subject for a second?
Yeah.
This is one of the reasons why I don't like Ron DeSantis, is because he actually worked at Guantanamo Bay during this time period. I don't know if you knew this.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wanted to add that in. It's interesting that he could be innocent. I'm going to be fair.
He could be, yeah.
But we have no idea to know what his role
in
Guantanamo was.
Right, because they won't tell us.
No.
Yeah, which anytime they won't tell you, it's something. Our government, if they're not lying to you, then it's not really our government. But more importantly, if they won't say anything at all, if where someone was stationed or what they did while they were there, that's some top secret shit. And
I emailed a lot of reporters about that, asking, I want somebody to ask Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
His time but nobody has asked.
Nobody will, which is interesting in and of itself. Wouldn't you agree? Because I think it's especially when he was running for president, that's the voters should know. What did you do during that time? What were you doing?
Again, he could be innocent, but it's
Well,
still
sure. Yeah. I mean, it might be
a
nothing,
question.
but I think it's a very good question. I think it's something that, I think it's something that we should be able to ask and get a legitimate answer to. We walled him, Mitchell said Monday, explaining that he and his colleagues had rammed their prisoner backward into a wall to punish him because they feared he was talking about 9/11 to distract them from another looming crime. The idea that Mohammed was punished for talking about that topic in his first month of U.S. detention is new to the proceedings. Mitchell has been testifying in pretrial hearings in the death penalty cases at Guantanamo Bay since 2020 and never mentioned it before. I wonder why. But it aligns with a prosecution argument that the CIA was not seeking confessions for a future trial. Now, this is really important. A lot of people may not understand how important this is. Prosecution argument, the CIA was not seeking confessions for a future trial when it brutally interrogated captives who were held incommunicado in the secret prisons known as black sites from 2002 until they were transferred to Guantanamo in 2006. Now, why is this important? Because the entire purpose of holding people in a prison is to keep them from fleeing so that they can be put on trial for the crimes that they committed. That's the purpose of imprisonment, is as outlined in our Constitution. Until you're convicted of a crime, in which case they put you in prison to A, keep you away from the good law-abiding people, and B, so that the government can have oversight over where you are and what you're doing. The point here is that they weren't doing this to prosecute him. They were torturing him to get information. The Patriot Act, man, it's a mofo, and there's still people defending that shit.
And they also have in the NDAA that passed in like 2013, they can hold Americans without trial for as long as they want, which is the scary thing too.
All they have to, they got to use the scary T word, terrorist, terrorism, terrorist. That's it. Now remember, I don't know if you guys remember. I'm sure you do. The people who broke a few windows and sat at Nancy Pelosi's desk are domestic terrorists, according to the FBI. Not only that, people who buy Bibles, people who buy guns, there are a lot of things. Parents who disagree with the LGBTQ, these people are all labeled potential domestic terrorists. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's how far everything's upside down, man. As Mitchell and the prosecutors tell it, the agency was seeking, quote, actionable intelligence that could be used for a military or agency mission, not a prosecution. The government considers the distinction between interrogating to gather intelligence rather than to build a case to be important. Oh, I'm sure they do. In 2007, Mohammed again bragged about his role in the attacks when he was brought before FBI agents at Guantanamo Bay, according to prosecutors. They want to use that confession to clean teams that did not use or threaten violence as key trial evidence. It will be up to the military judge to decide whether the 2007 confession was voluntary. But the judge also must decide whether earlier statements obtained from Mohammed through torture inform the FBI interrogations, which could make the confession inadmissible. Now, allegedly, I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I don't know much about this case. I tend to avoid what the government says happened because they've lied over and over and over. So I don't know that much, but I will say this. If it's accurate that this guy, A, confessed, and B, was genuinely involved, then they may have messed up getting him convicted because they spent the 180 something times of waterboarding him
and throwing him
against the wall, which, by the way, torture has been proven to not be effective in the exact circumstances that they want it to be effective in. Mitchell testified that Mohammed had been questioned up to 3 times a day, almost daily, for 3 years in the CIA prison network before his transfer to Guantanamo. So at this black site, wherever that was, up to 3 times a day, they questioned him, aka tortured him. The questions arrived in classified cables from CIA headquarters, but some questions originally came from FBI agents and analysts who were building an eventual case for prosecution, according to government documents and pretrial testimony. Mitchell's testimony also put a spotlight on the use of walling in the black sites. If done right, he has said, it should not cause any permanent damage. Two qualifiers here. If done right, and should not cause any permanent damage. The, quote, enhanced interrogation technique was designed for an Air Force program that trained American pilots to resist enemy interrogations. Then a trainee faced a mock interrogator who slammed his shoulder blades, not his head, into a wall made of plywood and burlap to disorient him. But CIA prisoners experienced it differently. Oh, I'm sure the hell they did. They have said their heads were slammed against concrete walls. Their lawyers blame Walling for brain injuries that have been detected in some detainees. Now, bear in mind, I just want to clarify this because some people might be confused at this point, talking about, well, why do we give a shit about terrorists, right? None of these people at these black sites have been convicted of a crime. Not one, not a single fucking one, because if they were convicted of a crime, they wouldn't be in a CIA black site. They'd be in a federal prison. So these are people who have not had the opportunity for an attorney. Many of them were just taken and stuffed away, and their families may not even know where they are. That I have serious problems with that, like legitimate problems.
But aren't you worried if they're in our prison, they get more rights if they're in the United States too? So that's why Guantanamo's around.
Don't get me wrong, right? I do believe that there is a place for a place for extracurricular outside the system events, right? Like prisoners, for example. If this guy was a part of 9/11, then yeah, that's a special, unique circumstance. And Guantanamo's there for that.
Okay.
Yeah, but there are many people who, like, because they happen to be in a certain place at a certain time, have been whisked away and held against their will. I have a problem with that.
What do you think of them closing Guantanamo?
No, we should definitely keep Guantanamo. Okay. Yeah. Here's the thing.
Add anybody to it, so when everybody does pass away, we can just close it then.
Yeah.
Because there are Democrats who want to bring these to our prisons in the United States.
Yeah, and there are some very strong arguments that can be made for both sides of the whole prison rights thing, right? Prisoners should have less rights, prisoners should have more rights. We can argue both sides, and there are valid points on both sides of the argument there. But I will say this, I worked at Indiana State Prison, right? And someone on death row has a fucking Xbox when their victim is gone, dead, right? I have a problem with that. I have a problem with them sitting there playing video games when they're on death row. That's just me. We also gave free iPods to them, and yeah.
They have a TV.
Yes. Yeah. Now, the TV, though, for the ones that can have them in their cells, they have to buy them. They don't just hand them out. Right. You got to buy your own TV, your own radio. The ones that are in dorms, the ones that are basically for the dorm, that's the prison buys that. But individual televisions, they have to buy. Now, X-Row, they do have to buy their stuff, right? But they got these big cells. Honestly, it's about the size of this room, their cell. Which, I mean, it's not a huge room, but it's a good sized room. It's way bigger than a regular cell. So there's a lot of shit I could talk about that, but
And I've heard a little bit.
yeah,
I've heard about this a little bit with my brother.
right. Yeah. Cause your brother works at a correctional facility. Yeah. So those being walled were seen as the enemy, terrorism suspects who were held naked, hooded, and systematically deprived of sleep. They were being conditioned, in Mitchell's wording, to give up Al-Qaeda secrets about sleeper cells, future plots, and how to find bin Laden. Here's the problem. They didn't get shit.
No.
They did not get anything. We could go on, but it's basically it's talking about how they abuse these people. And again, if he's actually 9/11 material, then a certain amount of this stuff is warranted to a degree. But when they don't care about prosecution and they care about torture, that's upside down from where it should be, in my opinion.
We shouldn't be doing torture.
Right. Let me go ahead.
Actually changed on this when the thing actually happened. I kind of went on the other side with that. We needed to get them the information out, but now I realize that it didn't work, like you said.
Right.
And we should be better than that as a country than torturing. We should treat these people with a little bit of respect. I mean, they shouldn't have a lot of
Give
rights.
myself some more water. There you go.
They shouldn't have a lot of
It's my
rights,
wife's
but
cup.
they also shouldn't be tortured.
Well, yeah. And you know what? I will say this as well. When 9/11 happened, I think the majority of the country, put it this way, it's exactly why they were able to pass the Patriot Act, because so many people, regular people who care about people's rights, went, how the hell did this happen? You guys are telling us that if you have this capability, this will never happen again. So, okay, here you go. Here's the capability to spy on American citizens and do this, and this. Because the big thing was, if you're not doing anything wrong, what do you have to worry about, right?
And that was the argument that I used a lot.
Yeah. You know what? I was on the side of this should never happen again. Burn those sons of bitches, blah, 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 right after it happened, right? And I still think let me be very clear, the individuals responsible for 9/11, whomever they may actually be, should definitely feel some pain. That said, we can't just go around kidnapping people and torturing them because we're supposed to be the good guys. How are we any better than the enemy when we're kidnapping people, taking them to undisclosed location, stripping them naked, beating them against the wall, waterboarding them? Like, come on, man. That's what the bad guys do.
We're supposed to be better.
We're supposed to be better than that. Exactly.
Do you want to go to who Trump might pick as his running mate?
Yeah. Who do you think? Do you have some documentation, or is it all speculation?
All speculation.
Okay. So what do you got?
My
You
opinion
think?
is it's Ron DeSantis.
Okay.
Because of the way that he left the race before New Hampshire even voted.
Okay.
I'm thinking that Trump probably called him and saying, if you drop out now, I will make you, because it didn't make a lot of sense. I'll make you my running mate if you drop out, because it didn't make a lot of sense for him to drop out at that time.
Well, I'm going to give you a counterpoint to that. Okay. They actually called DeSantis with this whole rumor thing, right? With the VP. They asked DeSantis flat out, and he said no.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. As a matter of fact, here, let me see if I can find it.
There's other names that are coming up, like Ben Carson.
DeSantis says no to VP.
Ben Carson would be.
Yep. Okay. He says Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said he has no intention. Excuse me. No intention of serving as vice president, and left open the possibility of another White House run in 2028, according to 3 sources on a private call Wednesday with his supporters and those who volunteered to be delegates for the former candidate.
What day was that?
February 22nd.
Okay, so it was after New Hampshire.
Yeah, it was after New Hampshire, and that's he says he wouldn't serve as he would not be VP.
That would and another reason why it'd be good is bring the party together.
Right. So, okay. So that's your argument, right? Your argument for DeSantis as VP is There are people who basically are anti-Trump, but they're still conservatives. They may not like Trump, but they got behind DeSantis because they thought he was what they were looking for in a presidential candidate, right? And you're thinking that by putting him as VP, you can kind of unite the party and bring those people back in line. Okay, so here's my counterpoint to that. He doesn't gain anything by putting DeSantis as his running mate. Okay, here's why, in my opinion, right? Here's why. The people who are going, here's the thing. Once DeSantis said, I'm done, he endorsed Trump. He went ahead and said, you guys who were going to vote for me, vote for Trump. I'm endorsing Donald Trump, right? Is he going to gain any more voters by slotting him as VP? The people who will listen to him will vote for Trump anyway, because he endorsed Trump. The people who aren't going to listen to him, I don't think it would matter what position he has. He's there. He endorsed Trump. Like, he doesn't gain anything. Also, another rich white guy on the ballot. What does that do? You see what I'm saying?
I see what you.
However, right, there are people who have floated several other names, right? You got, which I think the strongest person at this point right now is Kristi Noem.
And her name has come up.
Her name has come up several times. Journalists especially have floated that name.
The governor of South Dakota.
Yes.
She would be a good, like, she's been in the House, so she knows Congress, and she's been a governor, so she can step in if, God forbid, something happens.
Yeah. She has some basically some experience serving as the executive branch at the state level. She was the governor. So she has kicked ass as governor, dude. I have legitimately considered moving to South Dakota because of her policies and the things that are going on in South Dakota. Like, South Dakota's kicking ass right now.
I would be fine with that.
So would I. I would actually get behind Kristi Noem. I think she's a good choice. What about Vivek?
I don't know if he'd be a good running mate.
Yeah.
I don't think he's too young, and
you know what I'd like to see him as?
He would be good in the cabinet.
I think he'd be a good press secretary.
He would be a good press secretary.
Oh yeah. The wife actually was like, I would love to see him as press secretary. Like, imagine him versus what they have right now. KJP.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Karine Jean-Pierre or whatever frickin' name.
Another name I've heard is Ben Carson.
So, okay. So I heard that as well. That Carson's name was floated. He was not that popular in the previous administration because they put him in charge of HUD, and people bitched and moaned and complained, and
bought a lot of furniture and stuff. There was a scandal.
Yeah, that he spent a bunch of money on furniture for the places or something.
And after this weekend, after Trump visits the border, Greg Abbott's Fox News keeps bringing up Greg Abbott's name. I don't really think that would be a very good pick.
No, I'm going to tell you, I don't trust Abbott. Not at all. Not even a tiny fraction of a little bit. I find it interesting that the whole thing that kicked off with the border and the Supreme Court and all that shit. I don't know if you know this. Abbott was actually out of the country when that kicked off. Yes, he was.
Where was he at?
He was in
I didn't even hear that.
Yeah. He was in like India or something for basically trying to get business into Texas, right? The governors do that. They do that, right? But the interesting thing is the timing, because when the governor leaves, the lieutenant governor is in charge. And he is a lot more interesting to me than Abbott, because Abbott has had years to do something about this. And he keeps doing nothing, saying a lot, but not actually doing anything. But the moment he left, and he can't be like, no, he didn't do, that wasn't me, because it makes him look weak.
They're saying
hold on.
He could bring a lot of money in for the Trump campaign from the state of Texas, but
he could, but
I don't really want him as I'd rather have Christy Nome or the other name that I keep hearing, Christy Nome or Brian Donald.
So Byron Donalds.
That's it.
Yeah. So Byron Donalds is an interesting guy. How much do you know about him?
I know a little bit.
He is very outspoken.
Very outspoken.
Very outspoken, which I've always been a big fan of. That's just, that's just me. Imagine that. But he's been saying all the right things for a while.
Tim Scott's another pick.
Again,
I like Tim Scott too.
I like Tim Scott a lot. Byron Donalds. Byron Donalds. That's his name. I thought it was Daniels.
No,
I think Donalds. Byron Donalds. Okay, so here we go. Let's get this up here so you guys can see. Boom. Here he is right here. He represents Southwest Florida, District 19. And again, very, very outspoken. He will talk smack with the best of them and does not seem to give a damn. He has in the past said some, straight up things that really resonated with conservatives that was like, oh, finally we got somebody saying this.
And he was in the race for speaker. They almost.
Yes, he was. He was considered for the Speaker of the House. Speaking of the Speaker of the House, right? Do you find it odd, right, that this guy, right? Yeah, Mike Johnson, was a relative nobody and is suddenly Speaker of the House. Like, where did this name come from? Who, like, you see what I'm saying, right?
I'd heard of him before he was speaker, but
I had heard of him, but not anything. Yeah. One thing I will say about the guy, though, he's not a millionaire.
No.
He is a regular dude who has taken the money he's earned as a representative and invested it wisely. But like, he's not poor, but he's definitely not rich. His net worth is only like 100,000 or something. Like, it's, as a matter of fact,
maybe that's why they picked him.
That's what I'm wondering, because let's see here.
I did not even think about
Speaker Mike Johnson net worth. Okay, now they're saying is 5 million, allegedly. Here it is. Net worth of 100,000. I don't know why. I don't even know what this website is, but I would expect a lot of misinformation about him. Just so you know, but allegedly he's only worth $100,000, and he gets paid $235,500 now for being speaker.
Yeah.
So there you go. Allegedly, right? We don't know for sure because I don't have access to his bank records or anything, but
I can't remember what website, but they do track how much each member of Congress. I've seen it on a website before.
Yeah, how much they're worth, and I don't remember what it is, but I think Open Secrets, I think that tracks. I know that tracks like donations and stuff like that. But is there anything else? I know you got a thing you have to go to. Is there anything else you want to cover?
You want to talk about Mitch McConnell retiring?
Yeah. So the day has finally come, right, where the Grim Reaper has decided he's going to lay his scythe down and allow Mitch McConnell to walk away
From leadership.
From leadership. Yeah. He's not retiring from the Senate. Of course not, because he has a cushy ass job that people keep reelecting him to for some unknown freaking reason.
And there's rumors that he wants to step down because they're trying to change the rules of the law in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Because now, if he retired, the governor, Democrat governor, would be able to pick this replacement. They don't want a Democrat.
Yeah.
So they're trying to change the law in the legislature.
Interesting.
But he deserves credit for giving the Supreme Court a conservative majority. Because without him, I don't think there would have been a 6-3 majority.
Fair.
I know
Fair.
I'm not a big fan of Mitch McConnell.
No.
But
Did you see Jennifer Ruth Green's post about McConnell?
I did not.
It was only on her Instagram.
Okay. That's
Okay.
why
I don't mess with Instagram. I personally detest Instagram. I used to use it until they changed the terms of service. I don't know if you guys know this. They changed the terms of service so that basically your username, they own the rights to. So if you, for example, right, Dion's Daily Dose, my show, Dion's Daily Dose is on Instagram, but if I go try to buy dionsdailydose.com, they can take it away from me with their term. Like their TOS sucks, man. I'm like,
I've never been on it.
yeah. Anyway, here's her post, right? It's a picture of her with Mitch McConnell and her thanking him basically for his years of service, which, okay, and the phenomenal job that he's done. And people are like, okay, that's a weird flex. Like it's one thing to take a picture with the guy and go, you know, thank you for your years of service, because there's nothing wrong with saying that. But saying he's done a great job is, I'm sorry, that's an outright lie. It is a flagrant lie.
The only thing he deserves credit for is helping bring a majority,
conservative
majority to the Supreme Court.
Right. In every other way, this guy, he's swamp. He is 100% swamp.
So now we're going to find out who's going to replace him next year.
Senate minority leader, right?
Yeah.
That's because technically
Republicans are likely to take the majority after the November election.
Yeah.
The House, not so much, but the Senate.
I don't know, dude. Like, people are fed up.
We'll see.
People are fed the fuck up. We have, like, I talked to, there's a Democrat that I know, right? Lefty. And he's like, I'm going to tell you, dude, like, I cannot believe that this walking corpse is our president. I even voted for the guy because I hate Trump. But I don't know how much I hate Trump anymore.
And I've been seeing that too.
I like the constant cries of racist and all the things that the media used to say on a daily basis, right? Now their claims are he's going to start a war, which, hello, Trump didn't. Yeah. That he's going to, that's the end of democracy, right? When they're literally trying to keep him off the ballot every way they can. So they're picking for you who the president's going to be. And that resonates. I'm going to tell you, that resonates even with hard lefties going, okay, wait a minute. Like, I don't like Trump at all, they say, but he's never been convicted of anything. Like insurrection wise, right? That's the key. Like, he has not been convicted of any of it. And technically, he was on Twitter saying, be peaceful, go home, or, protest patriotically and peacefully.
But I think those Democrats might not vote for Trump, but they might just stay home instead. That's
the key. And that's what I've told people. If you cannot bring yourself to vote for Donald J. Trump for whatever reason, I get it, dude. I do. That's like me voting for Biden. Ain't going to happen. Never going to happen. I don't care. Like, I don't care who else is running. I cannot vote for that. I understand. You can just not vote for that office. You can just leave it blank, or vote third party if you want. You can vote for, I don't know who it's going to be this year. You got RFK, obviously, RFK Jr. running. I've heard a couple other rumors. I think Jill Stein's going to run again. Who? Cornel West. I've heard that name. Who is that guy? Let's see.
He's been on a lot of talk shows and.
Cornel West, American philosopher.
Yeah, professor.
Oh, this guy.
Okay,
he looks like what's the guy's name? He reminds me of like a wish Frederick Douglass.
Oh yeah. I guess, yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. I mean, just,
He's very far left.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. This guy, Cornell Ronald West. I think I've seen him on some talk shows
He likes to go on
talking that smack. What?
He comes on Fox News.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's not a Trump fan either.
But anyway, who would you like to see replace Mitch McConnell? Do you have him?
In the Senate?
Yeah. I would like Rand Paul, but I'm not. I know realistic.
They're not gonna, dude. I would love to see Rand Paul as Senate leader, like minority, majority, whatever. He's the only man who makes any fucking sense, dude. Mike Lee is good. You know what? You got a great point there, Mike Lee. And again, this is what I tell people: there are good people in our government, but I legitimately they can believe that they can be counted on maybe two hands. One, maybe two, maybe, because we got Rand Paul, which I like Rand Paul. He's the only one who makes any sense. What's that guy's name that Trump wanted to kick him out of the Republican Party?
Thomas
Massey.
He's in the House.
He's in the House, right? But I mean, in government in general, I'm just naming, Rand Paul, Thomas Massey. I actually liked the stuff Justin Amash had to say when he was.
He's running for U.S. Senate.
Okay. Let's see.
Republican, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah. Well, I think he was a Republican. Then he decided he was a libertarian, and then
the fight between him and Trump because he voted to impeach Trump.
Right. Okay.
But anyway, I'm being realistic. I would like Rick Scott. He'd probably be the best one that we could get.
Red Scott?
Rick
Scott.
He's the senator from Florida.
Where? Hold on. I know I've seen him. I got to look at him again, though.
Because he was in charge of the Senate campaign.
I did know
Senate
Rick Scott.
election campaign.
Oh, this guy. Yeah.
Republican Senate leader. Or he's in charge of the campaign funds, like fundraising money.
Yeah.
He did a good job. But I'm being realistic.
Right. No, I get it. I'm going to be honest. This guy doesn't do much for me. No. I've seen him have a couple of sound bites that I was like, yeah, he makes sense. But as far as like actually meaning something, I don't get that vibe from him. He's very, like, as far as I'm concerned,
he'd be better than some of the other guys that have been mentioned, though.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Like,
Cornyn would be not very good.
Yeah.
Historically, what Republicans do is when the majority leader or minority leader step down, his lieutenant takes over, which would be John Cornyn, who is probably the worst pick out of anybody.
I know I'll recognize him, but I need a face.
From Texas.
There it is, John Cornyn. Oh, this freaking guy. Yeah. This chode. This guy, man.
I'm not a big fan.
Put it this way, and those of you, if you know, you know. That's what I'm going to say. John Cornyn, McCain Institute. That says it all for me right there. He who shall not be named, John McCain. I don't care. You guys can have your own opinion. He's a piece of shit as far as I'm concerned.
I respect his service.
Same. I do. I respect his service, right?
As a politician, I agree.
As a politician, he was a complete POS. And I don't know if you read, dude, but he used to scream at people and belittle them and like, no, dude, no.
He accused Rand Paul. You know how you're not supposed to talk bad about.
It's okay. It does that sometimes.
Use their name.
Yeah.
On the Senate.
Yep.
He used Rand Paul's name and saying that he was a person of wanting to help Putin.
Oh God.
Yeah, it was really disrespectful. But
yeah.
Anyway, another name that's come up is John Barrasso from Wyoming, who is a doctor. He's okay.
John Barrasso with a B.
There he is. Nope, Guzman.
No,
You're doing B-A-R.
Oh, there it is. Barrasso. There it is.
He's a doctor. I don't think he's a practicing doctor.
Okay.
Another name. But who Trump, I was surprised. Trump endorsed somebody.
Who did he endorse?
He endorsed a guy named Steve Daines.
Here's
Senator from
this guy, by
Montana.
the way, John Barrasso. Where is he from? Wyoming? Yeah, Wyoming. Okay. All right. I don't know much about this guy.
I follow the House and the Senate.
Yeah, you know a lot more about this stuff than I do. Okay, so who is the guy that Trump's endorsed?
A guy named Steve Daines. I don't
yeah.
know a lot about him.
Daines.
He hasn't
Okay.
been around very long.
Huh.
I was surprised because he's
Interesting.
not known very well.
Yeah. Liberal super PAC launches $700,000 ad attacking Montana senator. Okay, so this guy's from Montana.
I think he's been in the Senate since 2016, I think.
2015. Yeah.
Okay. But you don't
Former
hear a lot
corporate
about him
executive.
ever.
Right. Yeah. I don't know much about
I don't know
him.
much about him.
Yeah. That is interesting. Trump pushes. Yeah. Trump encourages Daines. Yeah. Interesting.
And the final name that I have on my list.
Yep.
I would like him or Rick Scott is John Thune, who's the senator from South Dakota.
Thune. There it is.
I like
Right.
Thune.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep. I recognize him. Now he I could get behind. He's very smart, dude. Like
The chairman of the Republican conference right now. So he is in leadership.
interesting.
at the time.
Okay.
So we will see who they
Yeah,
pick
we'll
this
see
year.
who they pick. Interesting.
Do you have one more topic, or
Yeah. What time do you have to leave now or?
I can go another 10 or 15 minutes?
Okay. All right. Here, I'm gonna
I
boop.
don't remember what topic.
Let's see. So we got actually, you know what I want to talk about if you're okay with the countdown timer.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
It is like okay, so I'm just gonna give you a real quick because we don't really have time for the whole story, but I'm gonna show you. So Business Insider published a countdown timer for the threatened release of Trump court documents disappeared from hacker website before it ticked down to 0, right? Now, why does that matter? So we had this infamous hacker group that are basically they loan their stuff out. They farm it out to hackers. They have like, programs and hardware, software that they allow other hackers to use, basically rent it out, right? These other hackers had hacked the basically the Georgia Fulton County government documents, and they said they were going to release a whole bunch of really damaging stuff, but not damaging to Trump, damaging to Fulton County. And what they said was they put the Lockbit 3.0 is now that there's a lot to this story, which is why we really don't have time to go through all of it. But they had a timer set for 8:49 a.m. Eastern time Thursday to publish the documents on its website. A deadline it had jumped forward after previously setting a deadline for yesterday, the 2nd. Sometime on Wednesday afternoon, though, the timer disappeared. And the website still lists ransom timers for its other hacks. As of Thursday morning, it had 12 other timers counting down simultaneously, but the timer for Fulton County was gone. Now, what's really interesting is the Fulton County is saying we didn't pay anything. We didn't pay any ransom, and nobody paid it for us. That's what they swear. But the group does not take their stuff down until the ransom is paid or they release it. They've done this before. We've got tons of timers still up. Now, allegedly, the FBI raided them. And allegedly, they took down like part of the group. But if they did so and actually neutered them or cut the head off the snake, as it were, these timers wouldn't be there.
That's true.
They're still there. The website's still there. The timers are still there. Everything is still going. The FBI allegedly hacked their website. The FBI did, and did some, let me find it. Okay, here it is right here. I'm going to show you guys just, okay. But the group was disrupted on February 20th as part of a series of coordinated raids involving law enforcement agencies from more than 10 different countries. The FBI took over Lockbit's website and bragged about taking them down. The same day, the Justice Department unsealed indictments against 2 Russian nationals it alleges worked for the group. On Saturday, Lockbit 3.0 returned. It posted a new countdown timer for Fulton County, initially set for March 2nd. It later jumped it forward, leaving it to expire on Thursday. See, here's the Lockbit 3.0's website no longer lists FultonCountyGA.gov as one of the document caches it is holding for ransom. It's got all these other places, but not them. In a message trumpeting its return, the group claimed the FBI snapped into action because, quote, the stolen documents contain a lot of interesting things and Donald Trump's court cases that could affect the upcoming U.S. election. So in their words, this is some really important shit.
Yeah.
Really important. Allegedly, the FBI has been, looking into this for years. Before the raid, the group says they were in negotiations for a ransom. This is the group, quote, personally, I will vote for Trump because the situation on the border with Mexico is some kind of nightmare. Biden should retire. He is a puppet, the group said in the message. Lockbit 3.0's website does not show any new messages since then. The disappearance may signal ransom negotiations. Nobody will admit that they paid it. Nobody will admit somebody paid it for them or didn't, whatever. They're claiming that, no, this didn't get paid. But I find it very interesting that there was an FBI raid right when they did Fulton County. Now, allegedly, they've been working on this for years, and it was just convenient timing, right? Just that's all it is.
Yeah.
Just convenient timing, I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely. It just happened to fall when they had something we gave a damn about. What a coinky-dink, right? Yeah, what a coinky-dink. And allegedly, the FBI shut them down. But if they're still able to have a backup website and put all these other things on lockdown, either the FBI raid was solely for Fulton County, which would not surprise me, not at all, or the FBI didn't actually accomplish what they said they were going to accomplish. And they didn't actually bring any of the stuff down. They just maybe hacked a website or something. I don't know. But what do you think?
I don't know.
It's interesting though, isn't it?
Maybe they did pay the ransom because you're right. They would never admit to it.
They can't.
No.
They cannot go, oh yeah, we paid them. Because that's open freaking season, dude. Like all hackers will be like, oh, bet Fulton County pays. Let's go. Yeah. It's on. No, they can't admit that. But it is interesting that the timer disappeared. It is interesting that the FBI raided them right when they said they put Fulton County up there. All of a sudden, there's an FBI raid. Come on, man. Like, I'm not good at drawing pictures, but even I can fill in the blanks on this one. I can color this and stay in the lines. Like, come on. Yeah, this is fascinating because to me, this leads directly to and should tell us about other instances, things like WikiLeaks and stuff like that. What happens, right? What happens when stuff gets published on a website and then there's no stopping it, right? It goes viral. It gets downloaded here and here and here and here and here. I think certain individuals will do anything and everything to avoid certain documents getting out there. That's whether it's a document, a video. Like I heard that a whole lot of evidence was a whole lot of stuff was entered into evidence in that case. And a lot of it was entered into evidence by Trump. So I wonder if that's some of it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know for sure. Yeah. None of us will know unless they actually release it. But yeah.
They need to get either a new prosecutor for that case in Georgia, or they need to drop the case completely because
it's so tainted at this point. It really is.
With the relationship between Fannie Willis and what's the guy's name?
Yeah, her Dr. Love, whatever his name is. Yeah, I don't remember. He's not important enough for me to care. Like he legit isn't. I don't care about him or even her, but her name is like everywhere, so it's kind of hard to ignore. But the whole thing is just crumbling in real time. And I'm going to say this. Before we kind of wrap it up. Whether or not you believe in, because there's a lot of really interesting yet equally as wild theories out there about things that are happening or have happened, or stuff behind the scenes or whatever. Regardless of what you think about that, regardless of whether you think this is true or that's true, I find it hard to believe that someone at some level, even if it's cosmic, I find it difficult to believe that someone's not controlling things in a manner of like reveal, right? The big show, the Great Awakening, whatever you want to call it. It is hard to believe that, like, I can't count the number of times where the news has like happened, right? And I look at this and I go, there's no way this is real life. Like, some of the stuff that's happening is so unbelievable that the only explanation to me is that, again, at some level, even be it cosmic, right? Someone is directing this shit going, hey, watch this. Like, that's the only thing that makes sense. Like I said, it could be, because regardless of what you believe about God, right? If you believe that a creator of the universe exists, then his power has to be infinite, at least in this universe. So he's literally capable of making anything happen. That's why I say, at this point, I'll believe anything could happen, because it can and has. Like, some of the stuff that's happened, like look at Fannie Willis case, right? She ran on gonna get Trump. And what, like, everybody was super excited about this case. Every single Trump case has exposed gaslighting by the left or serious flaws in our criminal justice system. It's almost like it was by design. Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm not saying that, I'm not making any claims about, yes, this is controlled, or, yeah, he's in charge, or any of that stuff. I don't know about any of that stuff. What I do know is, watching this shit unfold, I constantly go, how did this, like, who did this? Who put this into motion? Who thought that this was a good idea? In countless examples, like, this cannot be real life. There's no way.
You want to see something that really, my brother showed me that.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia, going back to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
There actually has grass growing.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things that Saudi Arabia did, and we talked about these massive projects, but one of the things that they did was they actually brought green grass. They terraformed their lands, like dug big aquifers and brought like water to the desert. Like, let's see, hold on. Yeah, look here. Saudi Arabia turning its desert into a farmland oasis, part 2. There's like how Saudi Arabia is turning its desert into a farmland oasis. Yeah. These are all, I mean, all the way back in October of 2021, they were starting this, and now it's all over the place. And again, I wish our country gave a damn enough about our country to invest in our infrastructure like this, because dude, man, like our bridges are falling apart. Our roads are trash. Like
Trump tried, but he couldn't get it through.
Right.
Maybe
And
if he
that's,
gets the second term, maybe he will.
I'm all for the revenge tour. I'm all for it. Burn it to the ground. Like, I'm serious, man. Serious. Get him in there. Cut the federal government to pieces. Like, seriously, slash all of that stuff. Get rid of the CIA completely. If not rebuild, get rid of the FBI.
Did you hear about a project?
Technically, they're unconstitutional, by the way.
Conservatives launched a new program or a new initiative called Project 2025. Have you heard of that?
I have heard of it, but I don't know what it is. I didn't get a chance to look into it.
Looking at that the other day.
Project 2025.
Yep.
Be nice if I could type. There we go.
And the left is having a meltdown about it.
Presidential Transition Project. Is this it?
Yep. And the left
Let's
is
take a look
having
at this.
meltdown.
Oh, of course they are. They're always having a meltdown about something. Building now for a conservative victory through policy, personnel, and training. Okay. It is not enough for conservatives to win elections. If we're going to rescue the country from the grip of the radical left, we need both a governing agenda and the right people in place ready to carry this agenda out on day one of the next conservative administration. This is the goal of the 2025 Presidential Transition Project. The project will build on 4 pillars that will collectively pave the way for an effective conservative administration. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And they're asking for volunteers.
Ooh.
I think it was at the bottom. It was somewhere. I don't remember.
Yeah, there's
at this yesterday or 2 days ago.
very interesting. I'll definitely have to dig some more into this. If you guys want to look at this, it's project2025.org. project2025.org. Check it out. I'm gonna take a look. But yeah, that's, you know what? Good, because the book that I read that I'm done with,
Yeah.
if you want to borrow, it is War by Other Means by Keith Kellogg, General Keith Kellogg. He talked about just the nightmare that was the transition and coming in and like this is a good idea. This is a really good idea. Have people ready to jump in, because there was a nightmare last time. Essentially, the RNC took over and it was terrible. Yep, it was terrible. You guys know how many leaks came out of there, how many people got fired. Like it was a nightmare.
And that was part of the problem, was that Trump was out of the system. He wasn't part of the system, so he didn't know how to navigate it.
Right, exactly.
When he goes back, he knows how to do it now.
And that's so you get these people, right, that everything Trump does is 5D chess, right? You've seen that, right? Every single thing. The man is not capable of making a mistake in their minds, because everything he's ever done has been a plan for this and a plan for this. I am of the opinion that is probably true to a tiny degree, because I have seen him really handle the press. I mean, really hand them their ass. Just here you go, here's this, and they report on it and he spins it. And yeah. However, to claim that he is incapable of making mistakes, that's a path to ruin, in my opinion.
And
He has made mistakes.
But the funny thing that always cracks me up about the media
Mhm.
is he uses the left's tactics against them. He reverses it.
Mhm.
The Saul Alinsky rule for radicals.
Yep.
If you read that, he uses their own playbook against them.
Oh, yeah.
That's another reason why. There's so many reasons why they hate
Yeah.
him.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just kind of funny to see him do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I mean, we've seen him just really just spin things around completely on him. And I love it. I love it when that happens. But he absolutely, in my opinion, has made some critical errors, not just little ones, some pretty big ones, in my opinion. COVID, here's the thing, right? I think the biggest issue with COVID was the media. I really do. Because if you look at it now, well, one of the things that I just saw a video that I think it's, do you watch Memeology?
I do not.
It's a good channel.
Never heard of it.
Okay. It's really good. It does like short clips of then and now, right?
Okay.
And it, in many of the cases, that's like what they do. And it's direct. Like, for example, right? Trump had said, I think it was Trump. He said basically it's like the flu, right? And the left went nuts. They attacked him. The media attacked him. It was, I think, CNN just recently that said, yep, it's official. Basically, COVID's like the flu.
Yeah, they changed the CDC guidelines
Yeah.
a couple days ago where you don't have to quarantine as long. The 5-day quarantine is no longer necessary. So yeah, they're changing their rules.
Let's see here.
Oh, it'd be interesting to see them do that to Dr. Fauci because he's contradicted himself.
Yeah, and that's there are those who were like, he should have fired Fauci immediately. He should have did this. He should have did that. I will say this as a defense of Donald Trump, not Fauci, because I can't defend anything with that POS. But defending Trump for a moment, had he fired Fauci, the left would have went nuts, even more so than they already did. Remember, they used to allow Fauci to say his BS, right? Had he fired Fauci, he would have been anti-science. He'd have been this, he'd have been that, right? The other thing that I want to defend him is it is impossible to know what he had access to as far as knowledge.
That's true too.
He, as president of the United States, he had infinite security clearance. He could know all of, now how much was he told is that's an entirely different conversation. But we know that at least in certain areas, he had access to top tier intel.
And there was a time, I don't remember, I'll have to look it up. There was a time when they weren't giving him his full reports too. I think it was 2018 or 2019. Like they give him incomplete reports, which was crazy.
Yeah.
The president of the United States.
Right. And that's another thing. I would honestly like to see, because there are a lot of people who I could actually say committed treason during his administration. Considering, let's just say, right? Let's just say that Trump at the end of 2020, right? 2019, whatever, he had decided to invade China. Let's just say he did, right? I'm not for it.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, yikes.
Here's why I say that. Because what's his name? Mattis, not Mattis. Who was it Mattis? No. James was James Mattis the
secretary?
Yeah.
Yes.
At the time, right? Or was it Austin?
No, it was,
or not Austin. What's his name? The new guy.
I think it was Mattis.
I think it was, anyway, whoever was in charge at the time. I can't remember, but I think it was Mattis. Although I thought Mattis got replaced.
He did, that's right.
Yeah. Hold
Secretary.
on. Let's see. Secretary of Defense under Trump. Who do they have?
It was
I can't think of the name. Anyway, here's the point. If you guys can figure it out, great. This person called China or his counterpart in China and told them, don't worry, if the president decides to attack, we're not going to.
Mark Esper, I think you're talking about.
I don't know if it was Esper. It might have been, but it was.
Here's the name. He couldn't get another one confirmed through the Senate.
Okay.
So he ran. This is why I don't remember. Is because he had like 3 or 4 names.
It was the general, though.
Shanahan, Mark Esper.
I think it was Milley.
Oh, it could have been Miller.
Yeah.
Miller
wasn't
the defense secretary, though.
Okay, so Mark Esper, it was Mattis and then Esper, but it was a general that called. I do know that.
Okay, I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think he was the defense secretary.
Who was? You know what?
Let me see if I can.
Hold on.
I remember what you're telling me.
Yeah, let's see. Hold on. What general called China under Trump's administration? Army General Mark Milley. Okay. That POS. Yeah, that's the guy that has continued to destroy the armed forces, I might add. But yeah, delivered a full-throated defense of 2 calls he made to his Chinese counterpart. Here it is. Saying he was responding to, quote, concerning intelligence that China was worried about a U.S. attack.
Wasn't this the time frame where Biden did win the presidency and then
allegedly?
Okay, but he wasn't yet.
Right. I think it was that period of time. Yeah. Biden didn't win shit. I don't care. YouTube can do whatever they're going to do to me. No, bullshit. 80 million votes. More votes than the first black president. Get the hell out of here. Impossible that he got more votes than Obama. That alone is enough for me to go, yeah, bullshit. Just saying. I'm that fan. Cartman, or whatever, South Park. I'm that fan. Anyway, this guy called China, right, to reassure them, to say, don't worry, no matter what the president of the United States orders me to do, you guys are safe. Yeah. That's treason. Uh-huh. That is treason.
And then John Kerry going to Iran, telling him,
we'll be
out soon. Don't worry.
Yeah.
That's treason.
That's treason.
Stand John Kerry.
And these people, and here's the problem. We've seen all too often our government say, we'll take care of it. And then nothing happens. Look at Benghazi. Has anybody ever truly paid for Benghazi? No, not at all.
The 3 people that were killed.
Well, yeah, those people, but I mean, the responsible for those, the people that were responsible for the deaths of those people have never paid a price.
But yeah, Hillary Clinton never did.
No, her or the administration, like nobody.
There's a lot of rumors about. I won't go into it.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of rumors of what's actually going on.
Yes, I heard some as well. That would be a good discussion for another time.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think we went way over. I dig it though, right? It's fun. It's a good thing. It's a good time, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. I could keep going, but Shawn has other plans. Unfortunately, he's going to leave us, but he'll be back. As always, what's that? Okay, yeah. So Thursday night at, I believe it's 8 Central, correct? Let's double check just to make sure, but I'm pretty sure. Let's see. State of the Union. Help if I could spell. 2024. 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. So,
which surprised me. I don't know the reason for it, but it surprised me at how late.
Yeah, especially because here's the funny part, right? So, if Biden is suffering cognitive decline, which I believe he is, and I'm not even going to get into that because that's like it's elder abuse at this point, as far as I'm concerned. But if he is suffering cognitive decline, 9 p.m. Eastern time is dangerously late because most people with Alzheimer's and dementia do better early in the day and then really bad at night. It's called sundowning. And when the sun goes down, I want to clarify, sundowning is a type of, but many dementia sufferers and Alzheimer's sufferers, which I have personal experience with. I've had family members that have had it. They're good in the morning, generally better in the morning. And then the later it gets, the longer the day goes on, the brain gets tired and they start messing up. It starts skipping and having some serious problems. The later it gets, the worse off they generally are.
So
it's going to be interesting. Yeah. I wonder. Here's the thing. I really do. As much as I can't stand Biden, I hope he makes it through it with no issues. I really do. Not only because, again, at this point, it's elder abuse, but other countries are watching us, man.
Did you see what Italy made fun of Biden?
Yeah. Did you guys see so
I think Italian comedy.
Yeah, Italian comedy on Biden. Let me see if I can bring it up just so I can tell you guys what to look for, because
it was sad.
Italian TV makes fun of Biden. Let's see if this works. Yes. Okay, here it is. So I'm going to show you guys what I put in. We're going to go down here. There. So up here, I put Italian TV makes fun of Biden. And then this is the first one. Italian TV mocks Joe Biden and, quote, hilarious skit. And then here's another one that's only 3.5 minutes. This one's 8 minutes, which is, the thing itself wasn't that long. So it's a lot of them talking. This one is probably the one you want, but I can't tell you for sure. You guys would have to, it's basically Italy's version of Saturday Night Live. So they're expected to riff on, but oh my goodness, it's brutal. It's brutal. Did you see it?
No, I did not.
Oh, you didn't watch it?
I'll have to watch it.
Oh my God. It's so, dude, like it is. Yeah, you'll have to watch it.
Did you see what Bill Maher said about Biden the other day?
You know what, dude? Bill Maher, he can't make up his mind. He just had Mike Mills, I think, on. Is that? And he was like, you can't endorse Biden or something. But he talks smack about Biden, but by the same token, refuses to consider Trump.
Saying that he's crawling around and he's like crawling around like he has a
full diaper or something.
Like,
yeah.
ouch.
Yeah. I'm like, so it's like, it's okay to make fun of him, but not vote for him. not vote. Yeah. It's okay to make fun of Biden, but you better not vote for Trump. Right. That's the takeaway, which I will say this though. I used to not hate, but I used to have a real problem with Peter Doocy.
Okay.
During Trump's administration, right? I thought the guy was just a dick who hated Trump. That's how he is with everybody. Yeah. And you know what? More power to him. Consistency. It's good to see because the media has not been consistent at all when it comes to covering our presidents. Yeah, which good. Be a reporter. Yeah. God knows we need one. So yeah, more props to him. But I wanted to say that because the media has been very biased when it comes to their reporting of Biden versus Trump, etc. But okay, now I'm going to really end it. All right. I got sidetracked. We'll look that up though, if you want to giggle. So yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, God bless you. God bless Indiana and God bless the United States.
If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose. This has been Dion's Daily Dose, hosted by Dion Bergeron. Executive producers, Shawn Holmgren and Michael Beebe. Copyright 2024. Dion's Daily Dose, all rights reserved.